Today's review is sponsored by Attila the Hun's new stand-up special, Attila the Pun. Take in some laughs and maybe a raid or two. But don't heckle or your home will be pillaged.
Watch it, Alan. I'm shooting.
Abominable. No, not that one. There we go. So last week I talked about the 1980 Bigfoot slasher movie, Night of the Demon. Please go check that video out if you haven't yet. But long story short, I had some issues with that movie. I have a hard time talking about movies I don't like. I'd rather introduce people to something I actually like rather than something I don't. But I understand that everyone has different tastes in movies, and it's important to talk about what you don't like as much as what you do like when it comes to art, in order to get a different perspective, a different opinion, find common ground, or to gauge if the movie is worth your time. You might like something more than I do, or vice versa. But I also believe it's important to give alternatives. If there's a movie that you don't like, provide a movie that's in a similar vein that you think is better, and suggest people watch that one. That's what I'm doing here. Also, this is not going to be a one-to-one comparison. Night of the Demon came out at a different time, and at a much smaller budget than Abominable, so naturally there's going to be a difference in quality. I will gladly point out flaws in a low to micro budget film when it comes to execution, but I don't like to fault a movie for having a small budget or no budget. As long as I can see effort, the people in the movie are actually trying, there's good pacing, and the filmmakers are actually using their idea, I'm happy. I don't like to compare a bigger budget movie to a smaller budget movie. I like to compare movies with similar budgets to each other. I will gladly compare a small budget movie to a big budget movie if I feel that that small budget movie is better. And after that long rambly tangent, let's get into it. Abominable is a Bigfoot movie. It's basically if you took Rear Window and crossed it with a creature feature, and added a higher body count.
Get away from the window! Let's go!
The movie follows Preston Rogers, played by Matt McCoy. He's been in a wheelchair for the past 6 months due to a climbing accident that paralyzed him and killed his wife. He's been dealing with the trauma of the accident, and he's now returning to the cabin where he lived with his wife, with his nurse Otis tagging along. At the same time, a group of young women are staying in the cabin next door. As the evening goes along, Preston witnesses one of the girls being taken by a creature.
I miss you so much.
Due to the fact that he's in a wheelchair, the phone lines have been taken down, conveniently bad cell phone signal, and the fact that his nurse is an idiot and a prick, Preston is unable to warn the other women about what happened. As the movie goes along, he watches as this creature stalks these girls, and he's trying to figure out how to help these soon-to-be victims.
Let's wake up.
I really like this one. Is Abominable a great movie? No. Is it one of the all-time best cult classics? No. But it is a fun little creature feature. It has its fan base, and it's earned that fan base. And what I really appreciate is that this movie knows what it is. An entertaining little monster movie about a Bigfoot-esque creature. It's not trying to be anything more than that.
We already tried! Can't get infection in here!
Get out of there!
Funny thing is, the creature in this movie is known as the Flatwoods Monster, and there is a mythical creature in America known as the Flatwoods Monster from Flatwoods, Virginia. But it doesn't look like Bigfoot. It looks like this. It looks like if the Ace of Spades fucked C-3PO, and this is the result. But hey, it's an interesting looking monster, and the story is interesting. I don't think there's a connection between this movie and the actual Flatwoods monster myth, but it's still a fun connection to make nonetheless. As fun as this movie is, it does have some convoluted plot points and cliches to isolate Preston from the women, and to isolate these women from the rest of civilization. The phone lines are taken down, there's conveniently bad cell phone signal, but the main reason things are dragged out so much is because of Preston's nurse Otis. He's a bit of an annoying character. Not enough to ruin the movie, but enough for you to yell out, "Really?" so many times. He refuses to listen to Preston. Preston constantly tells him that there's something going on. He won't listen. He asks him to go next door and tell the women about what happened to their friend. He refuses.
Otis, you're not listening to me.
Preston, did you take your meds?
Forget the damn meds. I'm just asking you to go over there and tell them what I saw.
Okay, you're upset.
Yeah, that's right, I'm upset.
Preston even goes as far as to say, "We need to get out of here," but again, he just keeps refusing. He's so unwilling to listen that he goes as far as to lock the doors and windows so that Preston cannot warn these women.
This is for your own good, Preston.
Otis, you're not listening to me. Somebody has to go over there and tell those girls that their friend is missing.
No.
I do understand this a little bit. Preston has been in the hospital for the past 6 months. He's dealing with psychological trauma from the incident that crippled him and killed his wife. He's taking medication for his psychological issues. He was contemplating suicide in the hospital. So, yeah, I can understand just a tiny bit, but it's one thing to be concerned about someone who's going through mental problems, and it's another thing to be so unwilling to listen. It gets to the point where you're thinking, is this guy in cahoots with Bigfoot? Now that's goofy as hell, but this is just ridiculous.
Yeah, you never wanted to come up here in the first place. Now you're making shit up, so I'll take you back.
Otis, please!
Get off of me!
Otis!
I don't know if the filmmakers were trying to address these issues, but these are things that disabled people have to deal with. People treating them like children, them being viewed as less than people who are abled. Again, I'm not sure if the filmmakers were intentional with this, but I am glad that it does bring up these issues. Otis is still annoying as fuck, though. Other than that, this movie's a lot of fun. The rear window elements make for some good tension. Preston is constantly watching through his binoculars. He's trying to figure out what this creature is, trying to warn the ladies. They think he's a pervert at first because, let's face it, he is watching them through binoculars.
What's he doing? Ew, it's a peeping Tom. Creepy.
And even though there is some plot convenience in isolating him from the others, it's still fun watching him try to figure out how to deal with this situation, try to figure out how to warn these women, try to figure out how to contact the outside world. And as the movie goes along, he eventually has to figure out how to escape from the monster, even though his legs don't work. It's a simple plot, executed very well.
Hurry, Preston.
And there's an interesting cast here. We have Scream Queen Tiffany Shepis playing one of the ladies being stalked by Bigfoot, Dee Wallace playing a wife at the beginning of the movie, Paul Gleason playing the sheriff, Phil Morris playing one of the deputies, and you have Rex Lynn, Lance Henriksen, and Jeffrey Combs on screen together playing a trio of hunters looking for the creature.
Hey, you want marshmallow? Billy, will you sit the hell down? You're making me nervous now.
Me too.
Come on.
As a B-movie fan, I love this. You would never expect these three actors to be sharing screen time together in a film, but here they are. They work so well off each other, it's very entertaining to watch. Unfortunately, they aren't in that much of the movie, but their scenes together alone make this film worth a watch.
You sure you want to find it? 'Cause some things are better left unfound.
This coming from a guy who chain smokes at his gas station hooked up to an oxygen bottle.
Thank you for the reminder.
There's some good bloodshed in this movie. Abominable is not a complete and total gore fest, but there is some good bloody kills here, and they're done with practical effects. A lot of them are seen from a distance with Preston watching them through his binoculars, but you do get some close-up kills too. There's a good mix. We get some off-screen kills, we get some on-screen kills, kills done from afar, kills done from up close. It has a good balance, and there's plenty of entertaining stuff happening between the kills to keep us watching. The pacing is good. And then, of course, there's the creature design. This is a good-looking Bigfoot. I've seen a lot of Sasquatch movies where the filmmakers have a hard time balancing the human and ape elements when it comes to their creature design. The monsters tend to lean a little too much towards the human side of things, making the monster look like just some big hairy man. I think when making a Bigfoot-esque creature, there should be some human elements, but it should lean more into the ape elements. More animal, less human. Abominable strikes a good balance between man and beast. It does look a bit wonky, but it's still a good design. Abominable could not be a simpler movie. It's a creature feature with elements of Rear Window. It has good kills, entertaining characters, and good suspense. It's just a fun time. It's not the greatest movie I've ever seen, but it's not trying to be. It's just trying to be an entertaining Bigfoot horror movie that wants to give you a good time. And with that, let's get to the Grindhouse rankings. We've got a body count of 9. The kills consist of, but are not limited to, off-screen kills, being stomped to death, a face bitten off, and being broken in half while getting dragged through a window. There's some nudity here. We get to see Tiffany Shepis in the shower. And thank you for that, Miss Shepis. The movie does have some convenient plot points and cliches to keep the story going. It's a tad annoying, but it doesn't ruin the flick. The kills are good. We get a decent mix of creative deaths and off-screen deaths. I like the Rear Window elements. It helps this movie stand out from other Bigfoot movies. Speaking of Bigfoot, I like the monster design. I appreciate how they leaned into the ape aspects of the creature, while still keeping some human characteristics. Most of the characters are likable or entertaining. There are a couple of annoying people, but not enough to make this film unwatchable. And the movie has a good pace, which I will always praise. I'm giving this a 3.9 out of 5. It's just a fun, simple monster movie, and sometimes that's all you need. As always, I want to thank all of you for continuing to watch and support this channel. Please leave a comment down below. Let me know some of your favorite horror movies with a very, very simple plot. This is the Maniac, here to remind you that the Grindhouse will never die. What the hell's going on next door?
Oh no! That sinister-looking kid is coming to kill me! Help! Help! Help!
Simpsons reference!